Pregame.com.
Thursday night NFL football, the Cincinnati Bengals visit the Philadelphia Eagles. Bengals are up to a 4-point favorite over Philly. I'm going to go with Philly in this game. They're coming off a win. It's their first win since, I think, before October 1st. They now have a win after the Phillies won a game. So I think that this gives them a little bit of an impetus. But more than that, I thought going into last week, I didn't play the Cowboys against the Bengals. However, I did give it out as a teaser bet. I just thought that the Bengals were getting a little bit overvalued. I think we're a little ahead of ourselves on the Bengals. And I think the Eagles, listen, we know how poor they've been. They've been awful. They may be getting McCoy back this week. If not, the backup running back Bryce Brown has been playing really well. He fumbled a couple of times. But I think they have enough life in them. I think with a game like this on a Thursday night, coming off a victory, I think they stay within the 4 points. VR.
I think if Bryce Brown could hold on to the football, he'll be one of the better running backs. At least he'll be able to go in there and give McCoy some rest when he does return. I got to agree with you, Chris. I think Cincinnati is a bit overvalued. And Philadelphia, we've been hearing for weeks, this is one of the worst teams in the entire NFL. If you remember last season, they started off awful, but down the stretch, no one wanted to play this team. I'm not saying we're going to see a repeat of that this year, but I do think we may see some effort because it's a primetime game. Last time this team was on TV, national stage, they got embarrassed. And I think we're going to get effort because of that. And with the line open in 3, minus 120, 130, now all of a sudden it's off that key number and up to 4. If you missed the boat on Cincinnati, I think it's a little too late to play them.
Yes.
And personally, I like the over in this game. I think you're getting some value.
45.5,
Yeah, since it's gone under 5 of their last 6 games, and Philly hasn't scored more than 23 points, I think only once in their last 10. But I think this sets up nicely to see some offense. Because when it comes to defense, you have to have effort. And I don't think we're seeing that from the Philly side. Yeah. I think it was more Tampa Bay being a little inept than Philly playing great defense last week. So I think we're going to see some points, and I agree with you. I think at +4, you either got to play Philly or leave the game alone.
Tony.
I'm unanimous here. I like Philadelphia, too. I'm an Andy Reid fan, and I know he's got some limitations with clock management, et cetera. But, I mean, he creates quarterbacks. He made Donovan McNabb. He resurrected Michael Vick. He turned Kevin Kolb into somebody that looked like a first-string, franchise quarterback.
Signed a $60 million contract.
Right. He created that, and I think he's doing the same thing with Nick Foles. I think Philadelphia's problem more than anything, they really haven't been the same team defensively since Jim Johnson passed away. They have not been able to create what he created there defensively. But one thing I noticed when I was a line maker, teams do not quit on Andy Reid. There was always long stretches where you think Philadelphia is a dead club, and it's went to the extreme this year.
Yeah.
But he keeps that team together some way. I think Philadelphia is live.
I want to. You mentioned Jim Johnson. Since they fired Juan Castillo, I want to say 6 games into the season, their defense has gotten worse. So that was certainly not the issue. A couple other things. You mentioned Nick Foles, too, and how Andy Reid can develop quarterbacks. If you look at his QBRs, quarterback rating, it has improved each and every single game. And he came back last week brought him back from the dead, scored with no time left on the clock. That's a huge sign for him. Listen, he's 23 years old. Also, the Bengals had that 4-game winning streak. They got the Giants at a perfect time, so they beat them. That's a good, legitimate win. Other than that, they beat Kansas City, Oakland, San Diego.
Nobody's.
I'm not that impressed.
Sprinkle money line here, baby.
I think you're exactly right, VR. All right, we've talked about it. Let's go ahead and make it official. I'm taking the Philadelphia Eagles +4. I think it's good value on a team that's maybe a little overrated in the Cincinnati Bengals. I think they beat some very weak teams to kind of get this reputation right now as a hot team. I really don't believe they're all that good. Philadelphia will not quit on Andy Reid. I think they come and play a big game for them on a Thursday night in front of a national crowd. I think they hang in there. +4 is going to be a good bet. Okay, coming up next. Boy, I'm up again one more time. I'm going to talk about the Toledo
bowl game.
Utah State. You love the bowls, I know. And so you're going to have one a little bit later on. We're going to talk about that next. And you can see all our videos at pregame.tv.